that I needed to know a little bit about how I could valuably integrate something in my life that I completely did not understand until I started benefiting from the tools. So Veda was created in a way that really authentically was calling. My legacy is to really to be transparent and be able to help as many people where they are.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Midlife Revolution, the show for busy, empowered women ready to transform their lives. I'm your host, Coach Angie, and today we have another phenomenal guest joining us, Sonia Karwal. Sonia Karwal is a passionate entrepreneur and the founder of VEDA by Sonia, a company dedicated to helping others with their health, mental, emotional, and physical. With a background as a CPA and breathwork teacher, Sonia started VEDA by Sonia to address integrating modern medicine with ancient science, driven by her personal experiences and desire to make a positive impact. Through her work, she has empowered countless individuals and communities, embodying values of inner strength and self healing. Sonia's ultimate goal is to inspire a global shift toward natural wellness, helping people reconnect with their inner power and unlock their full potential through the transformative power of Ayurveda. Welcome to the show, Sonia.
Thank you, Angie, for having me. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you all.
Of course. Well, let's get right into it. Can you share a little bit about your background and what led you to pursue your passion?
Yeah, I have kind of an interesting story. I was born in England. When I was 9 months, I moved to Canada and raised in Toronto, went to school and created my real true upbringing into my, I'd say like till my 30s. And now I've been here in the US for over 20 years, but it's been amazing. It's an amazing journey. And in that journey, I learned so much about diversity and culture. And as I was a little girl, I grew up with people that were Italian and Yugoslavian and Croatian and Chinese, all different diversity of people, which I felt was such a big pillar of growth. I learned so much about cultural differences and history and different things that people did in tradition, even religion, which was so important. And that kind of developed my understanding of where people come from their point of views, what their stories are. And everybody is so different and had so many beautiful things. So you don't have to be Chinese to eat Chinese food. So kind of learning the cuisine, it was amazing. So my mother made all this wonderful food from different backgrounds, and I learned so much about people and how important people were, and how we can really learn the best of everybody's valuable gifts, in different parts of the world, as well as being able to travel during those times. And so that diverse understanding, and also not being born in India, I kind of explored a little bit of my own culture. Well, where am I from really? Because I'm kind of a melting pot of this diversity, but coming into this world, we start using things as we need it. And during my struggles I faced with my own health, I wanted to explore something that, was going to best serve me. And I came across this wonderful, path of Ayurveda, which comes from my tradition. And of course, I didn't need it during my upbringing. But when I did, I started exploring a little bit about my culture, which is a very big deep dive, because it was because I was not well that I needed to know a little bit about how I could valuably integrate something in my life that I completely did not understand until I started benefiting from the tools.
Well, let's talk about that, okay? Because you keep mentioning you were not well. What was that point in your health journey, that pivotal moment or experience that sparked the idea for you to just keep going with Veda so that you could be well?
Well, I had a lot of digestion, eating foods that did not serve me. My digestion was very very weak. I got to a point where I was able to eat about 5 foods, and they also had to be really super clean. Um, there was a part of my journey that I ended up struggling with a rare eye condition, which was degenerative retina. And it was scary to hear from doctors that, there was no chance to completely get better because my retinas were degenerative and I was in my 30s. So it was quite young, didn't hear about it from anybody else struggling with it at that age or anybody else struggled with it at all. And then, different things like skin eczema. I had struggled with some eczema that really started spreading, and I didn't understand why. I thought it was all topical. So I started exploring more about the science and learning a bit how to eat and how to use food as medicine. And that was a bit the best part about it. And during my transformation in my years, I started learning a little bit about my body was different than the person that can eat spicy food or could eat a lot of bread because my digestion was according to what things I went through in my life. And I'd overcome a lot of stress being a CPA, an accountant, which was deadline oriented. And I had a lot of struggles with finding balance in my personal life with my work life and understanding how does that work when you're under pressure eating, that time that we eat and how fast we have to eat and what we're eating, and time for bed. Like when you're working in the corporate world, sometimes your bed routine is not so defined because you got to be on call all the time. So Ayurveda taught me a little bit about structure and rituals. We have routine and then we have rituals. And routine are things we do mundane consistently, but rituals are really based on awareness, bringing back some awareness of how we feel while we're eating, what we're doing, and these belief systems that really create the health that we're looking for. So that would be kind of like my biggest takeaways. Ayurveda really taught me about how to live a really powerful and amazing life with what I had.
I love that. So we've talked about the powerful things about Ayurveda, and we're going to get into Veda by Sonia because that is your platform. And I'd like to know what are some of the early struggles that you faced in growing Veda by Sonia, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I had to make some very important decisions whether I wanted to continue being a CPA or was I moving into a direction of doing things that had a bigger purpose. And during COVID was a time where everybody kind of went inward and started reflecting what is the purpose of life? What are we really wanting to
Mhm.
find happiness and making choices that really gave us a direct path of the rest of our lives because we had a lot of time to reflect. And during that time, we had so many options with vaccines and, different modalities of wellness that can help us get through this time, building our immune system, staying healthy, and, being around the right people, even I would say, that you wanted to surround yourself with. So that time was really, really a time where I was able to reflect. I was able to meditate more because we had a lot of time and really search, kind of go into a deep dive of a search that really reflected the benefits for my I guess my long-term vision of what I really wanted to create. So Veda was created in a way that really authentically was a calling. I believe was a really big calling for me. During that time, I had come across so many people that were struggling with mental health conditions and stress and anxiety that I started just reaching out to friends and family that just didn't know how to be alone or how to deal with stress, with their family, living in the house together. That could be quite challenging. And a lot of people also, Angie, that were suicidal. That was the part where I was like, wow, people just were really giving up.
Mhm.
And being able to mentor them during that time had been the most fulfilling part of COVID. That, you get COVID, you come back, but what about everybody else? Thinking about other people outside of your world that needed food, medicine, or no, wanted just somebody to talk to.
Right.
And that's where it came. And I really started reflecting on my journey of what I really wanted to do. And I people started telling me that you're so good at this. Why don't you do this more? I didn't even know Ayurveda existed.
Mhm.
With herbal remedies that I've started giving them at home that was integrated with some of the medicine that they were taking through the doctors. And I just wanted to integrate the best of modern medicine with ancient science.
Right.
That blend was missing. That
Mhm.
blend really was not out there because we hear about it in the world today. We hear about turmeric and all these wonderful herbs like ashwagandha and ghee and all these different things. But how do we incorporate the best use for it for conditions? And that's where I started exploring that and letting people know that this is very accessible with your treatment plan from your doctor. Integrating these ancient practices started becoming very easy for people to understand through me and my voice.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
kind of came
Yeah.
about.
Thank you so much for your service. I can hear and feel the passion in what you do. Not unlike me, I'm very passionate about serving women at a certain age, 35 plus, right? Helping them to rediscover their balance, just like you. And I love collaboration with people with different platforms. So I'd love to know, how do you feel that you and I could collaborate and make sure we get this message out? What does that look like to you?
It is so important. So, one thing I realized, through my retina problems that I had with my degeneration and I getting the solutions that I needed to cure my condition,
Mhm.
I realized that not everybody is good at everything.
Right.
We try to say that, okay, because I do this, I need to be the expert, but that's
Mhm.
not always the case. So I applaud you, Henji, for all the things that you're doing in fitness and what you know. Like, there's nobody else that knows that, especially that fact that you're living what you do. You
Mhm.
live what you do and you teach and you share. And this whole world is all about learning the best from everyone. Like we're talking about culture and diversity. You don't have to be an expert at something just because, it's something that you came across. If you need to know something, you ask for help.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of one of my main learnings about supporting other women and other people in
Mhm.
different industries because there is a need of the time. And I think it's time for us to all come together and look outside of culture and religion and stop labeling things because people don't know enough about everything in the world.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
try something, it doesn't work. What are there other options? I've tried a lot of different things before I got to this stage, and people have to go through their own journey.
Mhm.
But yes, like supporting everybody, women, men. Of course, we're women, and we come with this,
Mhm.
we can do it all. And that is what we're here for. We're here to help navigate this conversation as, the decision maker in families
Yeah.
for our children, our partners, but it is important to definitely reach out to people who are the experts. And one thing, Angie, that came across in my mind was this social media was not my thing. I was so intimidated by it because after having an eye condition, I couldn't be on TV or
Mhm.
camera because it was that light, the blue light. And
Yeah.
I just started exploring different ways that I worked with the right people to get me where I needed to be. And now, in my 50s, I'm feeling so much more empowered by having people like you teach me, like, listen, let's collaborate, let's do this, let's make a difference. And, it gives you the confidence when you have, cheerleaders on every corner kind of getting you into that conversation where how we can impact more people. So thank you for having me again.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. And I want to move on to the early days of VEDA by Sonia. What are some of the key decisions that made a difference in your success?
So, key decisions I had to make were really about finding my own balance.
Mhm.
Having a family, making a decision whether you want to be able to expose a lot of your personal struggles. And it's a very vulnerable place to come from when, you're a parent and you're a wife and you have all these hats, and all of a sudden you're coming in with your story and sharing it on a platform where multiple millions of people will see, and making a decision as to how you want that to look like in your life and legacy for your family. So that was a really big decision for me to decide how vulnerable will I really be. And I felt in my heart that the more vulnerable you are, the more you share, the more you realize more people out there are needing exactly what you were looking for.
Right.
So it's been a gift. It's been an amazing, amazing journey because not only have I grown, but I've met so many people in these experiences that actually said to me, like, I can't believe it, like you seem like you got it all together, but my journey has been very long, and struggles, up and down, all the different things with health, mental, physical, and emotional health. We all have them at different moments in time,
Mhm.
but just to figure out, we can come together, create this platform to help each other get to where we need to be. It's such a
Mhm.
beautiful gift to be able to share it with the world.
It is a beautiful gift, and you do it so well. And um, I look to you as my mentor in this Ayurveda world, that journey that I take some things from, right? So speaking of being a mentor, what role has mentorship, community, or support networks played in your journey with Veda by Sonia?
Oh, it's been the most important. I've had mentors in my life as well, and people that I've inspired to be like better speakers, better, people that are just out there just sharing so much vulnerability of their own life. It's been an amazing time where people, I think after COVID, the Zoom thing started getting more
Yeah.
popular,
Yeah.
and learning a little bit about communication and opportunities that I've had, and these opportunities on TV, and future talks that are going to come up. So absolutely, it's been a phenomenal way to be able to connect with people out there. Yes.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to someone looking to turn a passion like Veda, like Ayurveda or fitness or any idea into a business like you did?
Well, I would tell anybody, just reach out to anybody you need to give support to, anybody from the person next door, a mother or father at school. There are people that are always searching and struggling, and especially now.
Mhm.
Modalities of health is important. Of course, we know, we have solutions through modern medicine. Of course, that is always necessary for acute problems. But this other side of our self care, this other side of it, which is our own ability to heal. And people who are out there that are searching, that are looking for things that are more natural,
Mhm.
I would say that to explore all of the different options that we have available, but also to go inward and see where that passion comes from, that you could reach out to people in what your gifts are, like
Mhm.
yours and mine. We both have our own industries, but going deep into ourselves and saying, well, what do I have that I can share with others that is my strength?
Mhm.
So that's what I would say. Just don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. It doesn't matter what age you are, what you feel, any insecurities. There always is somebody there that will be needing your help and support.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. How do you see Veda evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, and what are your long-term goals?
Wow. I would love to connect with 1 billion people, if
Oh,
it's possible, and 1 billion people to impact and to give them a droplet of what Ayurveda can look like. And Ayurveda can be the science of Ayurveda with the herbs and the food, lifestyle, but it's also got to do with the state of our mind, the
mhm.
mind that we create. All these ancient practices come from the East. We know that. And we know that breath work, meditation, all these breathing techniques originated 5,000 years ago in the East. And what's so beautiful, Angie, is that I would say that my real connection with people is through compassion, and compassion in the sense of where people are at. We do not have to be a different religion to have people follow Eastern philosophies. We do not, like I said, need to be Italian to eat Italian food. We can learn from all different walks of life and different people, their faith, their culture, their traditions. And I think to me, it's bridging this gap between the East and the West, and breaking down ceilings of
Yeah,
stereotypes of thinking
yeah.
this is something that's not in my culture, or this
Mhm.
is a religious belief system. And I think that is so important to me because if I did not know the other side, like I said, being born in England, raised in Canada, now in the US, I wouldn't have known enough about my own culture. So this is never about a religion or tradition that is limiting. Should be unlimited and it should be accessible to more and more people.
I love it so much. And thank you for sharing that. I love it. I agree totally. Now, what values, and I heard a lot of values in that commentary, but give me more values that you hold most dear in your work, and how do you ensure Veda by Sonia reflects them?
um, I would say integrity. I think integrity and and compassion are two super important ones that I think being able to have compassion for people and really understanding where people are at, meeting people where they're at,
Mhm.
not allowing people to be forced to follow something that I do, but meeting people where they're at, whether it just be a conversation on a general conversation around Ayurveda or meditation or anything, just even about children at this point, how we raise our children or how we are in a long term relationship. I've been married 30 years, and
Mhm.
those years have been up and down and not always great. But how
Mhm.
do we get over realistic problems people have
Mhm.
using these practices? And for me, all of these things that I'm sharing are based on my personal stories of how I got through times of difference of opinions, raising a teenager, having, challenges at work, being able to struggle with serious health problems that I could not face emotionally, or even insecurities becoming, turning into my 50s, not being able to establish my own inner relationship with myself, whether I was good enough. So these
Mhm.
are honest conversations, I think, that are so important for us to share. And my legacy is to really to be transparent and be able to help as many people where they are, and be able to bridge this gap between whatever we believe to growing a little bit better than the way we were before we met. So that's what I would say.
I love that. I know I keep saying I love it, but you really, I mean, you are an inspiration. And I'm sure as the audience watches, they feel the same way. I'd like to
And
know
so
what,
are you,
oh,
Angie.
thank you. Thank you. What personal lessons have you learned throughout your journey of starting and running Veda?
Some of the personal journeys is that as things are unfolding, that there's so much to learn.
Mhm.
There's so much more that we can learn and grow from the inner worlds that people are struggling with, and the care that you can be more present for people.
Mhm.
And I'm learning that sometimes just being silent and observing and being able to see things when they come to you, and kind of, we believe that, prayer is asking and meditation is listening.
Mhm.
And as I've been meditating more, I've been able to listen more without the chatter and asking and talking and talking. So that has allowed me to kind of follow my trajectory a lot more clearer. And
Mhm.
I think it's hard because this world has a lot of noise,
Yeah.
and being able to filter, who do we work with, who do we connect with, what's the right person, and all this different of opinion even.
Mhm.
So going into this path of like, whatever is the best, may that come, and have that bigger calling on my life and in my world. That is just such a dream that has been kind of unfolding, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of what I do with more people.
I love that. And I like for one final, I have one final request that
Mhm.
you, if someone were watching this and they had no clue about Ayurveda or breath work or anything like that, how would you start them off? What is the easiest way to give them relief right now?
The first thing is that there is a connection between our body and our mind.
Mhm.
Our body is just a shell, but then the consciousness is something that we can feel present, but there's something in us that's deeper, that's navigating this life outside of this body,
Mhm.
right? There's an energy. We can call it life force energy, and we can call it God, right? Pumping the blood through our veins and all of that. So if we can start with self-care, of course, being essential. We call self-care like, oh, taking a bath, brushing our teeth, and that's like the outside self-care. But mental self-care, just sitting down for 2 minutes, even 2 minutes, and just focusing on that breath, that gratitude we should have for the breath to be going through our body, the blood to be going through our veins, and who is doing all of this. It's a higher level of consciousness that's working through our life. Connecting to that source, being able to be present and connected to that source, which is who we are, because we all have God in us. Doesn't matter what part of the world you're from.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are, who you are. We all have God within us. And as we practice a few minutes of connection to the breath, we're able to come and listen to our connection to what we want to bring to the day. That daily connection is so necessary because the outside world is a lot louder
Yeah.
than the inner world. And the inner world is what creates the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that on the mental.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the physical, the digestion, focusing on your body type. Learn about your body type.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's body is different. It is so different. If you understand body type, it's called dosha, which means body type. And we have three of them. You're able to maneuver why your skin may be extra dry, why you're not
Your
having a
forehead
great,
shines all
yes,
the time.
right, right. Why you're not having maybe great elimination,
Mhm.
why you feel your hair is dry, why do you feel your eyes are tearing a lot, or, or why maybe certain foods don't suit you.
Mhm.
Once you know your body type, you're able to understand certain things just by a little shift. It's not even like you have to change the whole diet. Just a
Mhm.
little shift can allow you to absorb your food better, allows you to choose food wisely. That will allow you to detoxify yourself regularly and give you better energy and better sleep. Just a subtle shift. And that is the thing, Angie, that I would say people don't know enough about. There's a lot of talk about meditation. People can talk with apps
Yeah.
and all that, but the actual body, the physical body that we have, and everybody being so different, is not enough for us to just, do these quick detoxes
Mhm.
that may not be suitable for us. So I think that would be my two things: the physical, the mental, and the physical. Those would be to the body test. You can go to my website at vedabysonia.com and you could take a free test. And then, I teach meditation, so you can connect with a meditation. But those are two: meditation and body type.
I love it. What a way to end our conversation with letting people know how they can start now. People are desperate for help in the mental and the physical, and bringing them together so that they can have a good day and feel great, right? So thank you so much for sharing yourself with us.
Thank you.
We love you. I love you. And
I love
they'll
you
love you when
too.
they see you.
I
So,
love you too.
yes, thank you for joining us. And thank you all for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.